city was afraid. Every morning, people woke to terrible news. A criminal known only as the Night Stalker struck without warning, leaving behind fear and sadness. No one knew who he was or where he would appear next. Detective Miller worked every case. He spent long days and even longer nights searching dark streets, empty alleys, and fresh crime scenes. By the time he returned home, he carried the city's worries with him. Waiting for him every evening was his cat, Mittens. Mittens always greeted Miller at the door. She knew his usual scent, the smell of coffee, rain, old notebooks, and city streets. But after the Night Stalker's attacks began, something changed. A strange scent clung to Miller's coat. It smelled like cold metal mixed with the sweet scent of old flowers. It wasn't part of the city. It wasn't Miller's scent either. At first, Mittens thought it was nothing. But the strange scent appeared again the next night. And the night after that. Every time Miller came home from investigating another Night Stalker crime scene, he carried the exact same unusual scent. It was always there after a new attack, and never on any other day. Cats notice patterns that people often miss. Mittens realized that the strange scent belonged to someone who had been at every crime scene before Miller arrived. It belonged to the Night Stalker. Weeks passed, but the police found no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no useful clues. Miller grew exhausted. Every lead disappeared as quickly as it appeared. One rainy evening, Miller came home later than usual. The killer had struck again. As Miller hung up his coat, Mittens froze. The scent was stronger than it had ever been, not just on the coat. It was drifting through the open window. Someone carrying the same strange scent had just passed outside. Mittens rushed to the window and stared into the alley below. A tall figure dressed in dark clothes moved silently through the shadows. As the wind shifted, the same metallic, floral scent filled the room. For the first time, Mittens smelled it directly on the man himself. The Night Stalker wasn't a ghost. He was real. The next morning, Mittens refused to leave Miller alone. She pawed at his coat, meowed, and ran to the front door. When Miller ignored her, she returned and tugged gently at his pant leg before running outside again. Normally, Miller would have laughed, but after weeks without a single breakthrough, he decided to follow. Mittens moved confidently through the streets, stopping every few moments to smell the air before continuing. She wasn't wandering. She was following the scent. The trail led farther away from the crime scenes and into a quiet industrial neighborhood where old warehouses stood forgotten. At last, Mittens stopped outside a plain brick building that looked completely ordinary. Miller called for backup. When officers searched the building, they found newspapers covering every Night Stalker attack, stolen belongings from the victims, and, hiding in a back room, the man they had been hunting. The Night Stalker had finally been caught. The city could breathe again. The newspapers praised Detective Miller for solving the case. His fellow officers called him a hero. But every evening, when Miller returned home, he smiled at the small cat waiting by the door. He knew the truth. The real detective had never worn a badge. She had 4 paws, sharp eyes, and a nose that noticed what every human had missed. Sometimes, the smallest witness sees the biggest clue, and sometimes, that's all it takes to solve the hardest case.